Okay, so today we're going deep on a story that's, well, it's both fascinating and disturbing.
Yeah.
We're unpacking the Unabomber.
Oh, yeah, Ted Kaczynski.
You know the name. But do you really know the story? How a brilliant mathematician becomes a notorious domestic terrorist?
It's a tough one.
Really is.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to explore today, right? The why behind it all.
Right, and grapple with some big questions, too.
Oh, yeah.
About technology progress and really the nature of our modern world.
I think the thing that always gets me about Kaczynski is the contrast.
Yeah.
You have this celebrated mathematician, like just incredible, a Harvard grad at 16,
Yeah.
and then, years later, he's a recluse,
Yeah.
waging war on technology from a cabin in Montana.
It's like, how does that even happen? Right?
Right, like what could push someone that far?
It really is mind-boggling. He seemed to have it all, incredible intellect, academic success.
Yeah. A prestigious career at one point.
And then he just walks away from it all.
To live in the wilderness,
Primitive life, basically.
projecting everything he worked so hard to achieve.
It's really during that isolation
Yeah.
that his disillusionment with society, with technology, really seems to take root.
Yeah, it solidifies in that time in Montana, and then it comes out, in his manifesto.
Right. Industrial society and its future.
Published in 1995, Key to Understanding Kaczynski.
Yeah, that manifesto, it's a dense read.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a really complex critique of technology.
Right, and its impact on humanity.
I remember reading it and being, like, repulsed, but also, like, weirdly compelled.
It's a challenging read, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But his argument basically boils down to this. Technological progress, the way we understand it, leads to societal control,
Okay.
destruction of the natural world, and the erosion of individual freedom. He saw technology as this force that dehumanizes us
Wow.
instead of liberating us.
So for him, it wasn't just about the violence, the bombs.
Right.
It was deeper than that.
It was
A
philosophical.
critique of where society was heading.
And, a lot of people reject his methods, obviously, but
For sure.
that manifesto sparked a debate
Yeah.
about whether technology is really serving us or is it leading us down a dangerous path.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics then of his bombing campaign.
Okay.
We're talking about a period from 1978 to 1995, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, Kaczynski's reign of terror, as the media called it.
Right.
He targeted individuals that he saw as symbols of technological advancement.
Like who?
Scientists, engineers, university professors, anyone he thought was helping spread technology, he considered harmful.
16 bombs.
Yeah, 16 in total.
3 people killed, numerous injury.
A calculated, meticulous campaign with a very specific message.
And for years, he was a phantom.
Elusive.
The FBI called him the Unabomber.
Right, because he targeted universities and airlines.
He wasn't until 1996 that they finally caught him.
Yeah, thanks in large part to his own brother, David Kaczynski.
Oh, wow.
David recognized his brother's writing style in the manifesto when it was published, and he alerted the authorities.
I can't even imagine having to make that decision.
Right. A heartbreaking decision, but one that ended Kaczynski's reign of terror.
Yeah.
They arrested him in his cabin in Montana.
That cabin, it's almost like a physical representation of his ideology, anti-technology.
Off the grid.
So the arrest, the trial, the life sentence, that's all public record.
Right.
But what's maybe even more important is, wrestling with the questions his case brings up.
A bigger picture.
About our relationship with technology.
Oh, yeah. Can we engage with his ideas without condoning the violence?
Right.
How do we separate the valid points he made from the horrific things he did?
It's what makes his case so compelling and so unsettling.
Yeah.
He makes us confront some uncomfortable truths.
About our own reliance on technology.
Are we in control, or are we becoming dependent on it? Enslaved by it, even?
It's a good question. It's like he threw a wrench into this idea of progress, right?
Yeah.
Made us stop and think, where are we going with all of this?
And the timing of his campaign is interesting, too.
Oh, yeah.
Late 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
Rapid technology changed the internet's on the rise.
Right. The digital age is dawning.
It's like he saw what was coming.
In a way, he did.
All the anxieties we deal with today.
Yeah. It's eerie how prescient some of his concerns were. Talking about surveillance data collection.
Loss of privacy.
This was decades before it became a mainstream issue.
Kaczynski, he was ahead of his time.
In his own twisted way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Raising those red flags about technology's dark side.
And as horrible as his methods were, we can't just ignore the questions he raised, right?
No, absolutely not. It's like he was a canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, a warning.
About the dangers of a world dominated by technology.
So where do we go from here? How do we use technology without letting it use us?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it starts with awareness.
Be mindful, yeah.
How is technology shaping our lives, our relationships?
Even our sense of self?
We can't just keep embracing every new gadget or app without thinking about what it means.
The consequence.
Right? We need to be critical thinkers.
Ask the tough questions.
Like, what values are embedded in the technology we use?
Yeah. Are we using it, or is it using us?
And it's not just individual choices either.
No, this has to be the bigger conversation.
A societal conversation.
About the role of technology.
Setting boundaries and ethical guidelines.
Making sure that development aligns with human values.
It's almost like we need a new social contract for the digital age.
I like that.
One that prioritizes human well-being, environmental sustainability, and social justice.
All alongside innovation.
Yeah. And you know, that reminds me of something else Kaczynski talked about in the manifesto.
Oh, yeah.
The power process.
Yes, the power process. This is a big one.
Yeah, it's key to understanding his critique.
He believed humans have this innate need to exert effort.
To overcome challenges.
Exactly. To feel a sense of agency in their lives.
So it's not just that technology can be used for bad things.
Right.
It's that it makes life so easy, so convenient, that it robs us of something essential.
That struggle, that feeling of accomplishment.
It makes me think about those nature shows.
Ooh, yeah.
You see a bird building its nest,
Mm-hmm.
twig by twig, painstakingly.
It's hard work.
But there's a beauty in it.
Yeah.
That sense of accomplishment that comes from creating something with your own two wings. And we're losing that in this world where everything is so instant and effortless.
It's the surrogate activities thing.
Right, that's what Kaczynski called it.
When we're deprived of real challenges,
To start chasing artificial goals.
status, wealth consumption,
Things that don't actually fulfill
to
us.
keep us on the treadmill,
Always wanting more, never satisfied.
trying to fill a void with the wrong materials.
Reaching for external markers of success, but ignoring that deeper need.
For purpose, for meaning.
Kaczynski's critique, flawed and extreme as it was, it makes us ask, what are we really striving for?
What truly brings us fulfillment?
Are we living authentic lives, or are we just going through the motions?
Great questions.
It's deep stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, I find myself agreeing with some of it.
Yeah, me too.
It's like we're constantly bombarded with these messages.
Yeah.
Buy the newest gadget, get the latest upgrade.
It's exhausting.
It feels like a rat race sometimes.
Kaczynski was thought-provoking.
There's no doubt about it.
A terrorist, yes, but also intelligent.
And perceptive.
He saw how technology could erode our sense of self.
Our humanity.
So how do we reconcile that? How do we acknowledge his points without condoning his actions?
Right, because there's a huge difference between critiquing technology and resorting to violence.
A massive
It's
difference.
about understanding his motivations,
The context.
but never losing sight of the harm he caused.
Right.
That's so important to remember, especially with a sensitive topic like this.
Absolutely. We have to be careful.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to keep in mind as we think about the broader impact of his case.
Okay.
Because the Unabomber didn't just leave victims behind.
Right.
He left a whole bunch of questions about the future of technology and its role in society.
Questions that are more relevant today than ever. Okay, let's talk about that then.
Okay.
What kind of lasting impact did the Unabomber case have? Did it change the conversation about technology? It feels like Kaczynski's case brought those anxieties to the surface, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the Unabomber case, it's so dark and complex.
Right?
But it forced us to confront the downsides of technology
Yeah.
in a way we hadn't really done before.
Like we just had this blind faith in progress.
For most of the 20th century, yeah.
So even though he was trying to dismantle the system, he ended up making us think more critically about technology.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, almost like an accidental prophet.
Maybe?
It's not just about the negative stuff, though, right?
Right.
His case raised questions about the ethics of technology, too.
Oh, absolutely. Who benefits from these advancements? Who gets left behind?
And those questions are even more relevant today.
100%. We see with AI, with automation.
Yeah. Concerns about job displacement, the gap between the rich and the poor.
Exactly. You can see those warnings from Kaczynski playing out right now.
It's kind of scary.
It is. And these are questions we haven't figured out yet. Yeah.
Right. How do we make sure progress benefits everyone, not just a few?
How do we balance innovation with social responsibility? These are the questions the Unabomber made us ask.
Tough questions.
Yeah.
It's a complicated legacy.
For sure.
Maybe we don't like the messenger, but the message is important.
We can't ignore it.
It's like he threw a wrench into the machinery and made us stop and look around.
Take stock.
And the timing. As we said before, late 20th century, the internet is exploding.
The digital age is just beginning.
Kaczynski was a product of that time.
He was embracing technology and rejecting it all at once.
That tension is something we all deal with now, I think.
Oh, yeah.
How do we find balance in a world dominated by technology?
How do we take the good without losing ourselves?
It's a tightrope walk, isn't it?
It is. We're constantly adjusting.
Making sure we're using technology and not the other way around.
And that's where those bigger conversations come in.
Societal conversation.
What role do we want technology to play? Where's the line? What kind of future are we building?
Kaczynski's story, it's a cautionary tale.
It is. It's about what happens when technology grows unchecked.
And why we need to think about the ethics, the social impact of what we create.
Before it's too late.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Sobering.
But important.
Well, this has been a deep dive indeed.
It has?
We've explored the life and the ideology of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
From math prodigy to terrorist.
We looked at his manifesto, his critique of technology, and the questions his case raises about our own relationship with technology. We may not have all the answers.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a new awareness.
A commitment to engaging with technology critically.
And making sure it serves humanity.
Not the other way around.
It's the goal.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And remember, the power to shape the future is in our hands.